there, it's Kevin with Rogue Deck Builder here with this week's episode of the Tuesday Brewsday. So, I'm actually going to build a Rogue deck. I always thought that when Silver Fur Master came out that it might be a good time to relook at Rogues. One of the problems with Rogues is losing the card out of M21 that was another Lord type for Rogues. And now we have the Silver Fur Master that will give all Ninjas and Rogues +1/+1. So most people are building Ninjas around this card. The thing is, Ninjas and Rogues actually work really well together. A lot of Rogues that have ETB effects and have nice little synergies with Ninjutsu. However, I think that going more all out on Rogues because of Soaring Thought-Thief is a better way to go, because then you can pump up some really strong cards like the Nighthawk Scavenger. So this is a deck that I've been messing around with. It doesn't do the best in the meta right now just because removal is so good. It's very hard to attack the meta at the moment. We have some decks that just go crazy with card advantage, being the red-black decks or the Aura decks can just fill up their hand over and over with cards. And it makes it hard for these tempo decks to really compete with them. And then the control decks are really good at answering anything. We have between the Wandering Emperor and the, the white removal spell, X and white, that can just take care of any threat. It's very, very tough to even build a tempo deck it's good at answering efficient removal and really efficient board wipes. So this deck is just a 50-50 deck. I think I'm sitting right at the 50% mark. It does okay versus like the mono whites and the mono greens are about 50-50 versus those. It does struggle versus our deck. It does super well versus that red-black deck. That's one of our better matchups with the kind of the red-black treasures, the red-black artifact deck. And it does well against some of the more, like the Orzhov decks. You can actually tempo them out pretty good. One of the key cards versus the Orzhov is going to be Zareth San, the Trickster. I had a 4 of in this deck, gone down to a 3 of, then down to a 2 of, because when it's good, but oftentimes this card isn't that efficient with what you want to be doing. We have some Nombos in here with the Exile and Graveyards, with the Graveyard Trespasser and in the sideboard. However, typically this card is really good versus the Planeswalker decks, and so I might put like another one in the sideboard, and then that way you can bring in either 1 or 2 more. This card does get cut a lot versus many of the matchups, so like the Aura's deck, it's pretty terrible. Black-red is pretty terrible against even mono-white. It's a lot of times this is pretty meh, because it is tough for this card to get a lot of value off of that, dealing damage to a player and then actually getting a permanent. There are a lot of times you get like even a Luminarch Aspirant at that point, after post-trigger isn't that great. So I don't know. If the meta shifts, this card is definitely a very, very good card, as it just scales very well with the bigger the threats in the deck, the better this card to get those threats from the opponent. It's also pretty cool little target to get whenever you when a creature deals combat damage to player, you can search live for a blue or black card and put it on the battlefield. The -7 ultimate, which Kaito actually gets up that ultimate pretty easy in this deck, because you can fill up your hand with like removal or tempo based cards and then keep ticking up Kaito. So Kaito is a 3 of. This is another one that's pretty interesting in this deck, because it does allow you to fill up your hand as well as create the ninjas every turn. So I'm liking this card as like a card advantage card. I'm not sure if it's just better to go all in on the Morbid Opportunists, and if Kaito is just not worth it. It's another card that we are just kind of dinking around with to see if it does work. Good with Silver Fur Master to make 2/2s, by the way. I'm trying Krydle of the Baldur's Gate. This is kind of a meh card. It can give your stuff unblockable. However, it just doesn't really work right now in the meta. On turn number 2, you want to put something out that's more efficient, like an Acquisition Expert or a Silver Fur Master or the Soaring Thought-Thief. So this card is just, I don't know, it's a cutesy card that I'm playing around with. The 1-drops, I used to have 11 1-drops in this slot. Now I've cut down to 6 1-drops as far as creatures are concerned. So we have the Merfolk Windrobber, which is still really good. There's a nice little combo with Merfolk Windrobber and like Morbid Opportunist. When you get up to the 8 cards in Graveyard, you can actually draw 2 cards. And the Network Disruptor, pretty sweet card with a 1/1 flyer for 1 and tapping something down. However, we already have a lot of evasion. The tap down is kind of, I don't know, it's okay. But all in all, I'm not a big fan of this card like I was at first. And there also is the Flash Rogue that would give something -2, -0, and mill 2 cards. Getting the pivotal 8 cards into the graveyard was really good with the Soaring Thought-Thief. However, that also has been cut down because there just isn't any room for it. And I think we have a higher impact in our 2-drop. So still running for the removal is the Bloodchief's Thirst, as well as Infernal Grasp, and a 1 of Inscription of Ruin, because Inscription of Ruin has a lot of synergy, gets back a Lord if you can actually kick it for 7 mana. and then it's really efficient at that point. So other than that, Acquisition Expert, very good. Just gets rid of a card out of hand. This is a tempo-based deck. You want to have card advantage through Acquisition Expert. You can actually get Acquisition Expert back with like Biting Palm Ninjas in the sideboard, or even ninjutsuing like a Silver Fur Master isn't a bad little play for the Acquisition Expert. Agadeem's Awakening does very well in this deck because we have the 3-2-1 that often gets hit. We don't really have a 4-drop to make use of it, but Zareth is a 5-drop. We tend to get up even more mana. As far as mana is concerned, I'm wondering if I need to go Field of Ruin just to take care of the manlands, but right now we're just going to go Takenuma, Abandoned Mire, as well as an Otawara Soaring City, because why not? And then we are going to run just any of the lands that can actually tap for multicolors here with the Clearing Pathway and the Shipwreck Marsh. So pretty good deck again. It is just your quintessential 50-50 deck. It's going to be not really great versus any matchup, but not bad versus any matchup either. In the sideboard, we have 2 Duresses. Duresses is good at 2 of. You don't want to see too many because oftentimes they'll be out of cards with like the Biting Palm Ninja or the Inscription of Ruins and the Acquisition Experts. Graveyard Trespasser is just a necessary evil right now to exile people's graveyards. It's pretty decent at doing that. We're going to have some counterplay with the Negates and the Spell Pierces versus like the Board Wipe or the Meathook Massacre based decks. All in all, though, we're just going to be trying to tempo out their hands, and these are very good tempo-based cards. And so far it's working pretty good. I think the only changes that I might make in the future is maybe down to Kaito, maybe up like another Infernal Grasp or something, because you do want cards that actually do. We have a pretty miserable options with removal. I mean, we have really good removal, but the thing is, like Infernal Grasp with dealing 2 damage to yourself, that's actually a liability versus all the aggro decks right now. And then the Power Wheel Kill is also very awful versus Dragons and Angels, and they're everywhere. So Power Wheel Kill is kind of weird. And then the Bloodchief's Thirst being sorcery speed is also very weird. So we're in a kind of a weird spot with removal. There's a very good card versus Planeswalkers, though, very good against early cards, which is what you wanted to do. Still one of the better cards in the deck, but I think I would like some sort of like Smother or some other type of card at instant speed for this deck. But as far as the removal that we have access to, it's not bad. It's not bad at all for the removal. Have played other tempo-based cards like the Fading, what's the Unsummoned Scry? That's a pretty good card, and some other cards that, have sort of the bounce type effects. But all in all, the deck does, like I said, it's just the quintessential kind of 50-50 deck. All right, so now we have the deck list explained. Let's get on to some of the matchups, and I'll play a few here. I like this deck as a best of 3. I think this is where you want to be in the format right now, because there are some decks that you do need a sideboard versus. And if you don't have those kind of counterplay, you just get eaten alive by like graveyard decks or not being able to counterspell a Meathook Massacre. I mean, we only have 4 in the sideboard. I'm not actually sure if we need to go up in counts in that sort of like negate type effects. But right now, like I said, it's pretty straightforward with how the deck runs with the tempo-based strategy. Alrighty, so I guess I'm not. Did I just click the unranked here? Did that on. I can't stand how they changed on Arena, how they changed where, the last played, and every time you edit the deck, it goes out of it, and then you think you click on the right thing. But anyway, hopefully we get a good match here. So I'll keep this hand. It's a 4-lander, which is what you want to see. Ruin Crab's not going to do too much versus us. We're a nice little tempo-based strategy. We have the Windrobber here. It could just be a mill-based deck, but this is the blocker for the Silver Fur Master. But we can actually take care of the Ruin Crab next turn. Yeah, this is just going to try to copy in, and they're going to Galvanic Tasha's Hideous Laughter. So our negates and stuff will be pretty good in the sideboard. So we do need to erase this. I think we do need to just Infernal Grasp this Ruin Crab. And yeah, better than a Kiteers, I think. So, well, is it? Yeah, it still is. So let's just go ahead. I actually think we need to get some damage in. So we'll get some damage in this turn. Thing is, we can actually mill our opponent's Galvanic. Okay, we get an Expressive Iteration, which is pretty good. And our opponent also just put the Hall of the Storm Giants there, too. So didn't get any value out of the... Okay, so it's giving us some good Agadeem's targets here. Unfortunately, the Silver Fur can't really do anything. Gonna Braid. on the... Okay, so I've got a couple of options. I can go for the Morbid Opportunist, then kill and get some card advantage. But I think that... Can I get milled one more time? No, I think I'll just get in for some damage. So let's Infernal Grasp and stop the milling at least this way and get in for 2. And now kind of put our opponent on having to, find some other mill. Again, what they try to do is just control, and then copy a mill spell. And the mill spell actually is really good versus us because we don't have a lot of high converted mana costs, so our deck gets completely destroyed. That's probably going to be a Dragon's Fire. Or maybe it is just draw 2 cards as well. Maddy Cacophony. Okay, so we are getting milled. Let's go ahead with an island and unfortunately some Morbid Opportunist. And then get in for 2 as well again. Dual Strike is going to get a Tasha's Cauldron. Or Tasha's Hideous Laughter. This actually could mill me the entire way. Did I just lose? Nope. That one did not hit very well. So now we're really on a kind of a slower player. This kind of sucks. It's a Otawara rather than this Otawara can't get back Agadeems. But we can go... Soaring, Calders, and I think I still will just play the Otawara is fine. I might be kicking myself for that. Can't pay this, doesn't matter. You get a Ruin Crab. Opponent is dead next turn unless they have, ways to mill. If they do, they're just lucky. So if they can mill 8 more cards and just... Yep, they got it. Womp womp with the Tashas. Just so many Tashas, and we just weren't fast enough to stop them. But now here's where the Spell Pierce and Negates come in for the Tashas. We can Duress, Negate, Bombing. We just bring in everything to try to Inscription Ruin, Spell Pierce, and then we can take away things that are slow. So like Zareth San Trickster, I don't think does anything versus our opponent. We can probably take out the Infernal Grasp because we can just rely on the Bloodchief's Thirst. In fact, Bloodchief's Thirst can go out too. I don't really care about a Ruin Crab. I think that, a Ruin Crab does block though. Both of these go over top. Maybe we don't need a Disruptor. It is good versus having something to get through. The Morbid Opportunist is bad, so possibly like a Bloodchief's Thirst is fine. I'll keep 1 in. And Scavenger's still fine. The Baldur's Gate's probably slow too. I'll put another Thirst just in case, and then call that good. So kind of a cheese deck here with the milling, and they just had the double Tashas, like without even really drawing anything. It's pretty unfortunate there. With the duplicate spell. Again, this deck is so clunky. The mill deck is insanely clunky when they don't have the right cards. So this is fine. We have a first turn Windrobber, and then we can fall up in a Negate to just take care of one of the Tashas. We have a Biting Palm that's coming up too. And if they have Ruin Crab again, that's just unlucky for us. The double, yep, we can actually take care of it though, and they get no value out of it. So with Bloodchief Thirst on the Ruin Crab, and getting there for a Merfolk Windrobber. And unfortunately it's a land, but then we get Biting Palm Ninja, and hopefully the Biting Palm will take care of. They're just going to actually take care of it. Alrighty. Sure. Yeah, we can just chuck out the Silver Master. I don't know if Biting Palm is actually better to throw out there. So we'll go in and attack in. And just go to damage. Hopefully they try to... Okay. And I don't know if they run Negate. Well, first of all, let's throw this out. Damage doesn't matter, so we'll pay the 3 life just in case they have a counter unless I pay 1. And we got Kaito. And Kaito's just going to draw us a card. And hopefully get us some... Okay, perfect. Well, actually, not perfect. That mana is not what we want, but no double blue yet for our opponent. They can probably like a Braid now on the Silver Master. Nope, they don't have another Braid. So I wonder if I just start putting out 2/2s. Maybe I should have done it this turn rather than draw a card. Express Iteration after playing a land, huh? Interesting. Now I'm hoping for like Okay, Ruin Crab allows me... No, it doesn't. Okay, that does. So, another black. And we'll put out another. And then this will come out. And I think we do ninjutsu this. Yeah, because it keeps up negate. Okay, this is awesome, actually. And then go to damage. And see if there's a Tasha's Hideous Laughter. So dual strike. I'm just getting rid of an expressive iteration here. They can have a dual strike. And at this point, I think we just want to create some ninjas here. And keep up a negate. Now, I'm actually going to play... Ooh, this is risky. This is risky, but I think just throwing this guy out. And then we have lethal. Pretty lethal. The following turn and hopefully negate. So, I mean, our opponent has to draw something. And they can't copy it with the dual strike. So, we're in really, really good shape. So, they dual strike. But what does the dual strike hit? Tasha's? That is just stupid. They hit Tasha's off of that. I don't think they can mill. So, but that's pretty stupid. That was the top deck. But only has a dual strike and a land now, so we should be fine. And we have a negate for something else, so we can actually hit the other dual strike if I want to. So we'll go ahead and attack in. And do I want a Biting Palm and get the other dual strike out? I think I do. And then we just go in for damage. Get the other dual strike. And we can actually draw a card. Agadeem's is actually fine not to play, so we'll just throw this guy out. We got a negate for any other shenanigans. The top deck Tasha's off the top. And we'll just negate it. That's pretty silly. Double Ruin Crab there, huh? Oh my gosh. Yeah, you are a luck sack, dude. Good thing I have the negate. Wow, double Tasha's. Double Tasha's, the top decks. With Elastic Rods, with the double mana for dual strike. Okay, so I'm still okay with where I'm at here. I wish I had some more like ways to rip out cards. That is an option for a card. There is the 5 mana where you name a card and you can get rid of all 4 of them out of their deck, and then you can cast one of them. It's 5 mana, I believe, and it's a ninja or rogue. I think it might be a ninja rogue. It might be pretty decent to put in the sideboard if these cheese decks do continue to see play, or like one trick pony decks. Like we go back to like a Hull Breacher deck. That's definitely a decent option in the sideboard. Alrighty, so, but I think you have to have one of the cards in the graveyard already, don't you? Isn't that what the card is? But with this deck, it does kind of work with Duresses and milling cards. All right, I don't think I make any change here. We could be a little bit quicker. We could. No, still Spell Pierces. I'm fine. I'm fine with this. I mean, this deck is pretty one-trick pony with it has a Maddie and Cacophanies. I think there's only 12 mill cards in the deck, and they have to run enough removal to stop us. This is kind of a quick hand. We have Merfolk Windrobber into Soaring Thought-Thief. So we'll just play it. Might actually Duress next turn. No, I don't think we need to Duress quite yet. Oh, they have that mill as well. So they can exile 3 cards and then choose to use them. But they have to actually play that next turn. So this allows us to Soaring Thought-Thief and start getting in there for some damage. Some mill. 2 cards we didn't want them, or didn't care about them drawing. So they have you find some prisoners, huh? That's another thing too. So yeah, so Kato's kind of weak here because it just draws and discards. A blue ninja is pointless. Yeah, I don't care about that. That gives us, that was actually a really good card to draw. Because now we can Duress, or do I want to wait one more turn? I can wait one more turn and have even more power on board. I think we want to Duress here. Get rid of a removal spell. So they have a Dual Strike and a Prismari. I mean, we can just get rid of the Tashas, but Dual Strike, Prismari does 2 damage to something. 2 damage is not... I think I'll just get rid of the Tasha's Hideous Laughter. We did mill one of them for Washaways going in, so... And found another Galvanic Iteration in the graveyard. I think it's actually better than having in hand, though, because it's less mana intensive. They have the Prismari. They're in what, Dual Strike? No, just Dual Strike can't really work here either. Not a lot of good options for my opponent. And they didn't find... I mean, Nighthawk's super good, actually. That sucks. Can they play it? They're missing a land drop for the Nighthawk. Yikes, yeah, that hurts. But it will require a card. Gets to draw a card. We need to kill the Kaito. Oh, we have Agadeems, though, that we actually can... We'll play in Agadeems. And I think I do want to kill, because I think we're just one... Yeah, we're only one turn from killing anyway. So Fading Hope is good. Expressive Iteration's fine. That's dig. And we actually will get back our own card from our hand, so... Another Tasha's, too. So there's 2 Tashas out of the way. What can my opponent do here? They definitely need to play that Vampire Nighthawk, but we have the Toru. Okay, just going to scoop it up there. So our tempo actually tempos us out there. Let's say play a ranked game rather than the cheese game. See if Arena... I can't stand how they changed it on Arena, where you have to physically click every game of when you restart or kind of redo a deck. So you got to go over to play, and you got to go to this thing and hit that. There we go. Now we're in the right mode. So you saw my win percentage with the deck is 47%. I lost a lot of games tinkering around with like a ninja rogue type build. This is not a... Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. I'm like, this is all blue. This is terrible, but this is actually a pretty good hand. We have like Windrobber into possibly Silverfur Master. Opponent does Mulligan. I might just actually go into a Krydle of Baldur's Gate too, because it's pretty good if we can actually attack into an empty board. Opponent mulls to 5. Okay, so it is Orzhov, most likely. And Orzhov, like, mill is actually relevant in this matchup because, okay, it's Esper, actually. So, I think I am going to do Krydle, just to really get the mill going. Let's get a land here. Perfect, because I think my opponent is hurting for land, so... No, they're not. So Kaito is going to throw out a ninja. Sure. And I think we might... No, I don't think I'm worried about the ninja. I'm okay with it. I think that just putting a Soaring Thought-Thief out this turn is the better play, just so we can start getting some damage in. Eye Twitch. Mills 2 more cards. And I don't want the Nighthawk Scavenger, I do not believe. So we do fill our opponent's graveyard with the Rite of Oblivion. That kind of sucks. Gotta think a board wipe is here too. So if opponent doesn't have a board wipe, we gotta kill Kaito. Rite of Oblivion can come down. Deadly Dispute, huh? That seems like a desperation. So like I said, mill is actually relevant in this deck because they can mill themselves. They don't have them. This deck doesn't have the greatest amount of threats in it, and if you take care of their threats, oftentimes their resources is their library. Is they just have to keep drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing. A lot of them burn like Memory Delusion here for even more card draw, and they just want to outvalue everything. So. Mill is relevant. Next turn we could go Agadeems. Almost up to Merfolk Windrobber being able to activate. So Rite of Oblivion on the Planeswalker. Okay, that's fine. And, yep, now we are... Ooh, that's pretty good. So... and they gave us a Kaito to take from our opponent, so that will be the better card to grab. Merfolk Windrobber is okay. I'll put it on bottom. We have one in our hand. And then, yeah, we want to hit a land drop, I think. And that gives us a Silver Fur. So, tons of removal of Vanishing Verse, Rite of Oblivions. I might bring in the Graveyard Destruction, the Graveyard Hate. That forces off a treasure, which is actually relevant to with this setting. That was a bad card. So I'm going to go ahead and I think just... we could double Silver Fur here. Do I want to do that? I feel like there is board wipes on the horizon. So I think we'll just Acquisition Expert. Most likely just a land in hand. But it is still relevant. This is a deck that is decently greedy. Another Kaito. And... allows us to scribe. Bloodchief's Thirst is actually pretty good. It's another removal for any Planeswalker that comes out, so I'm going to keep it on top. I know hitting land drop is probably better. And the Wandering Emperor falls, so now another Planeswalker. We have lethal if my opponent like taps out for... yeah, Meathook is rough. Does wipe my board and gains my opponent life again. Okay, so draw, discard because I probably don't need this Kaito.
Now this is a juicy sight.
And I think just play this and then pass a turn. Yep. And then we have Zareth that we can just flash in. A Wedding Announcement. That actually sucks. We can actually Bloodchief it, though. Another way. Ugh. Do I have to really use a double wedding or double Bloodchief's Thirst for Wedding Announcements? Feels bad, man. Well, think it's worth it. Did I forget to activate a win? No. Okay. I thought I had a... so now we can attack in, mill some more stuff. Ooh, there's some beautiful, beautiful cards. We'll get a Kotose. That was the card I was talking about. So the Kotose Enters battlefield, exile target card on the baseline from opponent's graveyard. So take action. We're going to get rid of the rest of the... I think we're actually might get rid of just the Wandering or the Rite of Oblivions. There's one more, but we get to take a look at their entire deck. Lolth, Kotose, Wandering, Wedding, Kaito, Deadly Dispute, Meathooks, Eye to It, Shamblings are left. Yeah, I don't even know if my opponent has enough like win cons left after this. And we will put a Merfolk Windrider here. And not forget to activate this ability. We actually have a Kaito now that we can ult, which is pretty decent. We have 2 Rite of Oblivions, too, that we can actually... Or one of them we can use, right? Is that what this guy says? Then you play... For as long as those, you may play one of those cards. May spin manas or any color. Problem is it goes back to their graveyard. And gives them a Rite of Oblivion. But, I mean, resource-wise, 5 damage and 35 cards. With we know wedding announcements are left. Okay, that's a little bit of a desperation. I wonder if it's going to be draw discard. No, going to go for a Krydle on 1/1. Okay. And gets 2 of those. Okay. I think just whenever you can emblem a creature, yeah, it's just emblem time. And go ahead and attack with everything. There's another Wandering. There's another potential. And unfortunately, we don't have one in our hand. So, oh my gosh, I could have won with the Silver Fur. I'm just too focused on other stuff. I think we just grab Merfolk Windrobber and Merfolk Windrobber because that's the strongest things my opponent can do. Sorcery. We could Rite of Oblivion. That's fine on a wedding announcement. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I messed up there. I had the win. So, don't know if my opponent can come back from this. There's like a draw discard. Nope, going to attack. And then try to draw discard. Or just draw. And there could be a board wipe that I could kick myself for completely messing this game up by not going for the win because I had the Silver Master in my hand, a Lord. I wasn't even looking at my hand. So this one, so Spell Piercers are good, Negates are good, Duress is good, Biting Ninja is good, Graveyard Trespasser is good, Inscription of Ruin is actually decent. We can get back a card. This is so Network Disruptor. This is typically I do like Zareth in this one. So the cards that get kind of weaker, like Morbid Opportunist gets weaker in my opinion. I know it does work around like the Deadly Disputes my opponent's going to run. Krydle is actually pretty meh in this. With the Bloodchief's Thirst are still good, but the Infernal Grasp are not. And the Nighthawk Scavengers are something that is very unnecessary now. So we still have to find 4 cards. Kaito is very good. The Graveyard Trespasser is very good. Just because they are utilizing their graveyard to a point. Possibly it is the Graveyard Trespasser that we can cut down a couple of them. And yeah, I'm not sure where else we want to go. Like the Bloodchief's Thirst, yes, because there's still Planeswalkers we can take care of. Ooh. Maybe Kaito down. No, Kato's just too good. Maybe it is Graveyard Trespassers. I'm trying to think. It's not a Blood on the Snow deck. So I think we're okay with not really caring about their graveyard. Yeah, I'm okay with that. So we will keep it as is. Okay, so this hand is keepable. Not the greatest, but it's keepable. We do have a first turn. Oh, now it's a lot better. We have first turn Windrobber. Then we have an Acquisition Expert. Then we have a Kaito. they're going to take the Kaito. They should take the Kaito here for the check for traps. So, too many Bloodthirst. Way too many on the Bloodchief's Thirst. But, I mean, this is removal that I get to get rid of. My opponent has to have... I mean, they're really relying like wedding announcements. Hey, I get to get rid of a wedding announcement. That's actually super good. Hopefully mill another one. That's one removal, or one... Oh, there's another... Another one. Eye Twitch, sure. Yeah. Double check for traps I don't care about now, so I just mill 2 cards that they don't really need. So hopefully like another wedding announcement does not come out here. Looks like they're going to kill the Soaring Thought-Thief. Yeah, this kind of sucks here with the triple. I can take care of their threats, but I mean their Eye Twitch actually didn't go get a threat out of the sideboard. That check for traps actually hurt. Yeah. Wonder if they go get an experimental or environmental sciences. Yep. But missed a land drop. But we hit a land that we did not want. Hopefully we can mill something good. We milled a Vanishing Verse, which is fine. And unfortunately, though, environmental sciences could come out. What else is our opponent going to do? And this Windrobber's online. Did hit a land drop now this turn. Okay. Well, that gives us a Duress to see the Wandering whatchamacallit, if it's in hand. There's a Wandering Emperor.
Now you've done it. That's coming off.
And we're definitely going to get rid of another wedding announcement. So they can put out a 2/2 Samurai, huh? So if I attack the Wandering Emperor with both, I think that puts it in a good position. Because they go -2, then I kill it. Okay. Perfect. Oh, no. I thought I could kill. It gets negative. Okay. Goes down to a... That's fine. And I think we'll just kill the Samurai, since we have tons of Bloodchief's Thirst in hand. And now here it's just a +1. Yeah, that allows for a little bit better options. Probably still not the best option. But at least opponent's not getting any value out of... Actually, we can just kill it next turn, so... Well, they have a Disdainful Stroke, which... No, because this doesn't have converted mana cost. It's just a kicker. So that's fine. So we will just... Ooh, that actually just works right here. That's better. I guess I had Flash, so... 2 more lands, a Wandering Emperor out of the way. Unfortunately, we have these Bloodchief Thirst plus like a Lycanroc Masquerade, get our opponent back in this. Yeah, Kaito is fine. Gonna go with a Ninja. Okay.
I've got all kinds of connections.
Fortunately, now we draw a land. And this mill is relevant. It is super relevant. Vanishing Verse. We'll at least get a card out of the way. Ooh, that's actually relevant too because it gets our... What do we have in the bin? Disdainful Stroke worthwhile? I think so. Oh, we don't have another black. Never mind. Like, Agadeem's is great here. Let's stop him from getting some value. So now this has to draw discard, which Disdainful Stroke is still something to get rid of, but yeah, this can be grindy. Lots of win cons gone though, lots and lots of them. Deadly Dispute. That's relevant too. That's card draw. And now we have... See if they had another Wandering. A Rite of Oblivion. Nope, we kill the Kaito. There's another removal spell gone. And I think this is worthwhile right now to do it. Because it gets back. Actually, Disdainful Stroke has to come down here. Yeah, fine. That's fine. Still another card out of the way. And that stops our opponent from disdainfully something in the future. Okay, another Kaito. There's number 2. Right, Oblivions aren't that great when you can't generate anything for them. Another Agadeems. Okay. We'll go in there for the attacks. Vanishing Verse. Yeah, just too much like removal. Too much. This deck's very awkward when they don't get what they need. So I think we play around a board wipe so we can go Agadeems. I know I could just win next turn, but I'd rather not go Meat Massacre, have my stuff die, and then I can get back a Soaring Thought-Thief and a Silver Fur again. So we could have just won there, but there's another Deadly Dispute and another Eye Twitch. So there's a Wandering Emperor. That is fine. Kills the Soaring Thought-Thief, I'm sure. And unfortunately, we don't have enough for this card to be kicked, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's 7. So we do if we use the Agadeems. So Agadeems is probably, Inscription kicked is probably more powerful than Agadeems, I would say. Is it? Because Agadeems can get back. We're definitely Inscription. So... So we are going to target opponent discards 2 card and return something. Those 2. So discard 2 cards and return a Merfolk Windrobber. Double Deadly Dispute, huh? Jeez. So all their Deadly Disputes are gone, which doesn't really matter because they don't really have card draw. Shambling Gasp works with the Rite of Oblivion, kills my board. That kind of sucks. And they do have a Hive, too, so I guess I shouldn't have gone that route. Biting Palm Ninja. But I just Bloodchief's Thirst here.
Show them how we greet our enemies. I'm never done for good.
But I'm not in the best shape. I'm going to keep this Shipwreck in hand. They do have an activation on the Hive, which does really suck. Oh, man, that was what I was worried about as well. So a Spider Queen top deck. Well, we have a Soaring Thought-Thief. I guess I could have flashed that in. That was kind of dumb of me to just cast it. I guess my opponent can still win this off that top deck Law Spider. Because now Rite of Oblivion can now hit the Soaring Thought-Thief. But 20 cards left, and not a lot of removal left.
Oh yes, I know the knowledge you seek.
I still think I'd attack him with a Soaring Thought-Thief. Yeah, running that Agadeems was probably bad. Should have attacked too with the Biting Palm Ninja. Probably is worthwhile to get rid of those spiders. Wow, opponent has lots of lands left. Okay, another Planeswalker. But now can't activate the Rite of Oblivion. So, now can activate the Rite of Oblivion. See where my opponent wants to go. Ay, ay, ay. Gonna go off the Soaring Thought-Thief. Good news is I can go after Lilith. Bad news is I lose my Biting Palm Ninja. But it's resources still, and my opponent doesn't get an attack out of it. Unfortunately, we drew an awful Duress. And I'm going to play this now. I've used 2 of my Agadeems. The Hive Tyrant's actually super good just to activate. I think I'm going to lose this one, unfortunately. They found that last bit of Planeswalkers. Top decking those. 19 cards, though. Can my opponent kill me with the 19? Yeah, because the Hive can kill me. Unfortunately. And now the lands start to come out. Yeah, I was worried about the Hive. Fortunately, we don't have a Hive of our own either. Down to 14. Acquisition Expert something. Gets rid of a card. Probably a land. Oh! Oh yeah, that is a land, but I think I'm just going to die to that stupid Hive. And I actually can't block these guys either. So many lands left in my opponent's deck. I think my opponent is drawing the lands now. Ouch. So this is going to give my Duress at least more options to hit. A Windrobber, huh? That was pretty bad. No, I knew there were so many lands left because my opponent hadn't. There's very few lands in this clunk of stuff that was milled. So now we can kill one of the spiders. Gonna go with a Hive. Go down to 5 if that's fine. We'll double block. And do I want a card here? Is a card more important? I think so. Heh. Not more important than land. I'm not sure what I can do here to get out of this. I think that Lilith just absolutely destroyed. The Bloodchief's Thirst. Yep. All right, we're going to game 3. So, couldn't find... Do I even care about Duresses? Do I care about Duressing away? I think I'd rather rely on some more. We'll put Krydle back in. Possibly like a Nighthawk Scavenger. The problem is that the toughness, there's just too many of the exile stuff. Maybe the Morbid Opportunist. Morbid Opportunist does seem pretty good. Both of them. And call that good. However, we're still in oh, that just feels bad. Feels bad. I think that Lilith was the only thing that my opponent could top deck there. Maybe like a Mimic Massacre. But we also couldn't find our Hive to kind of pressure our opponent. And I got to think of putting that other ninja in the sideboard, the one where you can exile something to the graveyard and then you use it against them. I think it's a pretty decent sideboard option versus these type of decks. No Spell Piercer or Negate either. We didn't see one in that entire game. Too. Those Duresses just came at the wrong moment. I think this is still top deck in the best of 3 is Orzhov, as far as arena stats are concerned. I know best of ones, people play the R's deck like crazy. So, very decent hand. This is about as decent as it comes. We have a fast Windrobber. We have a Spell Pierce that can... And we have also Soaring Thought-Thief. Don't have a... They always have an Eye Twitch every time. Okay, so throw this out. And we'll just do it. Yeah, that's fine. It's either that or let him use it as a resource. And I'd just rather get the Eye Twitch out of the way. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Who knows if they needed that Environmental Sciences too? Check for traps. Do I want to spell... Nope. Oh my gosh. Check for traps is actually pretty good too. As they can get rid of Kaito again. Ugh. And Kaito was key last game. That check for traps, I think, won the last game. But we do get a ninjutsu this guy in. And maybe get rid of a win con here. Yeah, it's going to get rid of Kaito, I think. So Environmental Sciences, yeah, the only thing my opponent can cast this turn. Need another Biting Palm Ninja so we can start. Decided not... Okay, so there's this. And Ninja comes down. Making him discard 2 cards right now I don't think is very decent. No, I'd rather just go Soaring. With a Spell Pierce too. Deadly Dispute, can't hit anything. And the Soaring Thought-Thief now is coming into play. 5 cards in my opponent's library already. There's Agadeem's again. Agadeem's is weird. So we're just going to go to combat. Another Kaito down. And we will Spell Pierce that. And I think we just fire off an Inscription. And I think I might keep Agadeem's in hand. Other than a check for traps doesn't. Land and Deadly Dispute is probably what I would get rid of my opponent. But, I mean, there's nothing better for me to do here, I don't believe. With Inscription. They kept a land, so Go Blank. Yeah, Go Blank was actually really terrible. So now I know they're going Go Blank, so I'm just going to throw this Agadeem's out. Oh, that sucks. So what my opponent... Okay, not a lot of things they can run with that, though. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we didn't have the best graveyard, now that I'm looking at it. Thought I had a lot more decent of a graveyard. Fortunately, we draw a land, so now I'm wishing I would have kept that Agadeem's in. At least we get to get in with the Soaring. Mill 2 lands. Unfortunately, too, this Merfolk gets to get sacrificed this Rite of Oblivion. I think I'm going to lose this one, too. That Kotose was just perfect. They top-decked that island, too? Is that what came? Because we knew they had the land, or they had the island the entire... Nope, they just had one island here. So, Rite of Oblivion on the Soaring Thought-Thief is where I think my opponent's going to go. Which does give me another Merfolk Windrobber into the... Yep. Yep. Opponent can't attack with a Kotose, though, but it has the 5 lands perfectly again. I think I will make this trade. Keep the island in hand in case they have check for traps. Now it's time for them to... Ugh. Shamling is good. Kaito number 3? Ay, ay, ay. Oy, and I can't stop the lands. So this is where we peter off. Man, that check for trap both games, getting that Kaito, is just awful. And they're the Hive Tyrant too. They found their Hive Tyrant, and I still have not found mine. And now we just get out card advantage. I don't see a way out of this one actually now. Because that doesn't do it. It blocks with it. Do I just cast the Biting Palm Ninja? I think I do. Where are my poor Kaitos? $35, so decent amount of lands left in my opponent's deck. A pathway. Yep. There's Meat Hook. There's another land for us. Feels bad. Feels super bad. Yeah, I guess the Hive combo with the Kaito, too. Guess I should have kept in, like, the Infernal Grasp for it. And that is just going to wreak havoc. Not sure Zareth's going to do anything. It's pretty decent, though, if we can go get a Kotose. And the Kotose going to get probably a Kaito, I think. But I think this is the time my opponent's now top deck their counterspell. Plus so much removal left. Plenty of mana. Plenty of wanderings. Yeah, there's just so many things in hand that I think I can't beat. I think everything. And that actually is pretty rough too. Can't activate this turn unless there's a high. Crack the treasure. But they do get to look at Zareth and know that it's in hand. Which sucks. Another Kotose was rough. We're going to go for casting a Biting Palm. Which does have a Menace. Creates a 1/1. Fortunately, I don't think I keep Zareth in hand. Oh, and I didn't even cast it. I draw another land anyway. That felt really bad. That was rough. We were down to the wire both games, and I think that the top decks just didn't go our way and really went our opponent's way. Possibly could have played it differently, but I mean that was the third Kaito right there. Just those check for traps. Both games was check for traps. Taking our Kaito I think was just insane. Like the value that it would have got us with the card draw, and then we just could not find our card draw. So that might be something that's wrong with this deck, is having the amount of card draw to really keep up with our opponent. However, I know it gets kind of rough with not having enough threats. Not having enough, like, standard, I knew this was going to happen. This is kind of, I guess this goes into a rant for another day. I knew that as soon as they ban Orange Epiphany, it'd just go to tokens, because there are just so many Planeswalkers. Like, every Planeswalker is a Gideon. Every one of them. And Gideon was so dominant during its standard lifetime. Just the 4 mana Planeswalker the spit out a token. And now we just have so many versions of Gideons that every deck is running them with Renin 7s and Lawless and Wandering Emperors and everything is spitting out token. And it's just these really grindy value engines. And it really makes tempo like a tough strategy to play right now. In the meta. Also really tough for things even like mono white and mono green, which is surprising because mono white and mono green are probably the best they've ever been in standard as far as just having the complete package. And they just get ground out by this draw, create tokens, type decks. So I'm not sure how they would combat this. Like I've mentioned in another video that I'd like something to deal with tokens, like another card that just is, I know we got some out of this last set, like destroy all permanents with converted mana cost 1 or less. That's pretty decent versus tokens, but again, being able to then value engine those over and over doesn't really matter. And that's why these decks are really combating, and it's just board wipes into, running a threat out that can get out of control. So, I don't know, maybe like Torpor Orb type cards or not Torpor Orb. I guess we do have like Pithing Needle in the format, but again, most of them run like a spread of threats. So, good news is, though, I think that ninja, the Kotose, is something we should definitely put in the sideboard. I'm not sure where it would go. Probably for the graveyard. I'm not quite certain we need them. And a card that actually continues to seem worse and worse, which is another thing that's kind of indicative of standard, is Vampire Nighthawk used to be such a good card. And this is just a strictly better card. And it seems like 0 play right now in standard because it's so awkward, the Nighthawk Scavenger. Because this card can just get huge. It can be a 6/3 easily. But in our deck, it just doesn't really do anything. It almost feels like I'd want some other card in this slot rather than Nighthawk Scavenger. The Death Touch is nice, but the removal just gets eaten by everything. There's just it's not efficient enough to really stop, even with things like negates and duresses ripping the answers out of their hand. The Scavenger just seems so awkward. And so this might be the card that unfortunately just gets the cut because it just doesn't seem to have a place in the deck. And that way we could put something else like a Biting Palm Ninja maybe in the main in this slot instead. And then we can have room for that Katos. Excuse me. And I don't know, like maybe another ninjutsu card like the Treasure Ninjutsu might be pretty decent too because it's just another card that can then ninjutsu back a acquisition expert. In fact, maybe, but then we're really going more on that ninja route. But for now, I think this would be the cut. I'm going to cut some scavengers, and we can go for, I think like 2 of these Prosperous Thieves is probably right in this slot, and then probably the Biting Palm Ninjas. And now we're back to like a hybrid deck with ninjas and rogues. But honestly, the Vampire Nighthawk has just done nothing in most of the matchups. There are a few matchups where it is the key card. Like Aura's is pretty decent. You can block, and then it's a Death Toucher. The Death Touch alone is pretty good. But I mean, we could maybe just rely on removal rather than going to the Vampire Nighthawks. Maybe cut some of these removal, like Infernal Grasp, maybe from going back into Nighthawks. Maybe we don't need this sort of tempo based stuff. But I think the Prosperous Thief is good just for the ninjutsu. Like, even just kind of ignore the creating a treasure. It's just an upside to it. It's probably one of the better. Or maybe the Moon Circuit Hacker. Moon Circuit Hacker could also draw a card, get a 2/1 out. After that, though, it just seems kind of weak. So I think the Prosperous Thief is a little bit better for creating that treasure token and giving us kind of the mana to activate. I'm not sure we need to go up and Hive the Eye Tyrant. Most of those games, the last games, that seems like it could have been a better, like a card, like having a Hive would allow us to push through that last bit of damage. That could have definitely been, that definitely could have been a key card. But that's probably pretty good putting the ninjas. Yeah, Acquisition Expert just got a lot better too, having both of those ninjas and the ninjutsu. They're both kind of on curve with Acquisition Expert. And then that allows the sideboard for the Katos or the, what is that card called? Let's see, the Ninja card. Wait, I'm already in Ninja. I don't have to research Ninja. I don't think I have one. That's why it's not showing up. So we have the Kotose, Silent Spider, in the sideboard. I think 2 of them probably is the right play. And that does also give us a little more You know what I want to do? I think I'm going to cut one Graveyard Trespasser and then go another Zareth as well. What are Saturos? Pretty decent. Whenever you activate a ninjutsu ability, I don't think Saturo's where we want it. Then we're really into ninjas at that point, but I think that the Zareth, another Zareth in the sideboard, would give us more oomph too versus those particular decks. So that is how I'd build it. I'll put the completed deck in the description below. That's all the time I have for today because that game was just so long. I will see you next time with a Rogue's Alley, or maybe next Thursday with next week with a Rogue. What are we? Tuesday, Brewsday on Tuesday, and then maybe on Thursday we can do another Rogue's Alley. I'm thinking of doing Rogue's Alley, just kind of a flex spot of just showcasing what I'm playing, whether it be a format or a deck, commander deck, or something like that. I'll showcase that. I hope you enjoyed this video. This has been Kevin with the Rogue Deck Builder. Thanks for watching.